Welcome to Doing Good HQ. I'm Aaron Jack, your host of The Aaron Jack Show, Artist to Art, and we are here today with Nori. So thank you so much. We're going to be talking about NFTs and the whole bit today. So we will have... Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. We're going to be... Oh, here we go. Live from Berlin to Japan.
Yeah.
You're in Tokyo, right? Oh, perfect. Near Tokyo.
Near Tokyo.
Well, we're always near each other, near enough here in the Metaverse. So of course.
Well, thanks for having me.
So what was the moment that you knew NFTs were such a thing in the world?
Well, to be honest, it was actually Clubhouse. So I started joining that service this January, and I was just talking to my friends, and then whenever you open up Clubhouse, there's rooms, right? And then there was like NFTs, right? And at that time, I was doing like podcasts or like blogging for music, like, and then so I was like searching an interesting way to do something related to music. And then I had a friend of mine who was a musician who's making like dance music. And he was like, hey, I want to do an event with you. So like he was doing this like live performance. So we were planning to do like a club event. First floor, the basement floor would be the main stage, and they would be performing like a couple of artists. And then on the first floor, we were planning to do a talk show, and then so I was like, and then I found out that there was like, hey, there's NFT, and why don't I like try to pursue a way with music? Yeah, so like this is when I started to do some research about NFTs and cryptos, and I got so into it. So this is the very start.
Wow. And when did you know that it was like something that you really wanted to delve into? Like that you're like, oh, it's not just like a thing I'm interested in. Was there a moment ever
Mhm.
that you decided that just like made that turning point for you?
Yeah, so actually the event got postponed because of state of emergency. So it's the event day was the very first day of the state of emergency, and I was like so shocked. I thought about it for like a while, and I was like, what can I do? So, and then so the I found out that there was crypto voxels, the metaverse, and then so I was like, okay, I'm gonna shift everything to virtual. So I had my friends, a couple of artists, who's gonna be showing their works at the event, which was postponed. And then we put them all in the gallery, right? Crypto Voxel gallery. And it turned out very well. I think it was like 3,000 people came to the event for just like 10 days, right? So, and then all of the works were sold, including my NFT. So I was like, this is it. This is gonna be it. And then I started to do some more research about crypto NFTs, and then I kind of forgot that I did find out that music was a little bit hard for like the property rights and other. So I started to learn seriously about NFTs, and that's when I started to go to rooms and ask people what it's all about, and then did some research because I like to analyze. So I started to pursue my career as an analyst, crypto NFT analyst, doing some like numbers analyzing, and then I had a job to post some like analysis about NFTs every month on a web magazine, right? So I was doing that besides my full-time job. And then there was this chance where I found out that there was this event called Crypto Art Week Asia. where a lot of like it's like a NFT Asian festival, right? So I was like, hey, this is cool. Why don't I do this for Japan? So I was like, I went out to Twitter, found the organizer. It's called Raider 3000. It's George. And then he was like, I want to talk to you because I want to do an event for Tokyo. And I was like, cool, why don't we do that? So that was May, like end of May. And then the event was there in July. And then NFT just came to Japan. They were crazy. People were crazy about it. Like the NHK, which is like a BBC version of like the broadcast program, came to our event, and they were like doing some shootings. People were like coming to our events, like virtually, physically, because it's a virtual and physical event. And then that's when I decided, like, hey, this is gonna be my job.
Wow. Wow. So it seems because not everybody's aware of what's going on in Japan with NFTs, what's going on in Tokyo, what's going. I mean, there's
Hmm.
so much around the world that this is a global phenomena. Um, what do you see happening
Hmm.
in Japan now? And maybe you can give us some of what you've seen in your analysis reports. Um, that you've seen kind of Japan as compared to kind of the global markets and where you see that going?
Well, now it's becoming huge. Everybody understands, like, knows, are aware of crypto NFTs. It's actually interesting where NFT, the term, became the one of the top terms for the year. But it wasn't, but it was like top 10. So people were starting to be aware of the word. But the thing is, they don't really understand. We saw the data saying like, hey, here's the countries that and of the awareness and of the NFTs. So when they asked like, do you know what NFT is? Japan was the worst, saying like 10% of the people could answer what NFT is, while Thailand was the top. Yeah, so we still need to um, like educate people, work together with them. Like, so what I'm doing right now is like every like 3 or 4 times, like I'm doing seminars. What NFT is, what crypto is, what's happening right now, what you guys should do to the companies, like the firms, like big humongous firms. I'm telling them like this is crypto, what and so and so, like, and I'm teaching them like A to Z, what's what we should do, and they're starting to understand. Yeah, and also there's not much of a market. Japan used to be really active on crypto because you know how like 2011 it all started. But after it goes with every maybe every country. But like there was a trend of ICO boom, right, in 2017, and there was like all the frauds, and Japan was really strict to those ICOs and crypto, which there was so much regulation that now it's like um, there's not much we can do. That's why we cannot like issue coins, which regulates us in a way of like if you want to do like NFT and coins, um, there's one thing that we cannot do, coins, right? But other than that, when you speak of NFTs, people are really active about it right now because there's a way. Um, and we found that there was a lot of illustrators coming into NFTs this October. Yeah. So first it was like the early adapters in the maybe January, February, and then later on it was the second trend of the collectibles, right? And then people were saying like, oh, this is cool. Access token and all the derivatives, and loots. People are excited, right? But that's still the early adapters. And then after like August or September, a lot of like illustrators, we didn't know who they were. Like they came to Twitter Space and was like, "Hey, I want to do NFTs," and we were like, "Who are you?" Yeah. So and then, but we feel that this now it's December. Everybody ran away because they couldn't sell. Not everybody, a lot of people. So we're thinking like, we should. It's time for us to calm down and start learning things. What's happening in the world? What we should do? People are starting to create communities, DAOs. This is everything that's going on everywhere, right? All around the world. Same here in Japan. But one thing we should really focus on is that we have like a barrier of language. Not all of us are good at English. So people are like trying to brush up their skills, artwork, design, English, pitching, story making, storytelling. Yeah. And we're
You
trying
know,
to
that's
help.
really interesting, the idea of storytelling as it relates to NFTs. And I think you point out something really interesting in that is, people are using English as like a main language here as a mode of storytelling and bringing people with the NFTs, with the work, whether that's artwork or collectibles, what have you. Um, where do you see that kind of developing, or where would you like that to develop as we see storytelling evolve through the digital spheres?
I'm not sure if I can answer your question, but it was interesting how we did a bilingual space yesterday, like English Japanese. It's called NFT Tea Time. Yeah. So a lot of like big players in Japan came to our space and they were talking, and I would translate for them, me and one more person. And it was interesting how this one illustrator came up and what they came and they were saying like, how can we um, promote ourselves abroad, like to the world, and what's good like about Japanese like culture, like and then so should we do those kimonos, samurais, or like geisha, or like those kind of things? I was like, yeah, that's one thing. I'm not sure if you're excited about that, but like um, that's that would be a strong image of that from abroad, like about Japan, the orientation, like Japanese things. But at the same time, people do want to know more about Japan, like how people think, how people react to each things. Like we can be more concrete if it's NFTs, right? Like because we don't have to go on like mass adaptation, right? Like so what storytelling it could be more about you, more about us, and um that would be like really interesting. People are more aware of like how we think about, like, let's say politics or maybe like designs or anything, right? So and also they would like to hear your voice, right? Well, not just like written words, uh, the, because like crypto, they don't even know if you exist, right? So that was like the message, like speak out, even though if your English is broken, if you don't care, as long as you like are you about yourself, and people will help you out. Like me, I would translate. So I'm telling my artists like saying, hey, let's be like put your courage in the front and like try to speak out, just like an introduction, and I'll help you out.
Wow, that's beautiful. But I think that's so important, is that even when we're kind of scared, is to find that courage inside of us to be a part of these larger communities in the world. And people, I think, are generally respectful out there of any sorts
Hmm.
of different language barriers, because I think people are I don't know. Do you see people being aware of like language barriers in the world?
I don't think so. Like, a lot of people are shilling. to us. Like I'm kind of surprised, like how like maybe people in like Southeast Asia, they're coming to Japanese crowds and saying like, "Hey, I'm from Thailand," and I'm like, "I'm the doing this and this and this." Even though they're not perfect in English, they have the courage, and we're like, "Okay, cool, we'll check it out." But when it comes to Japanese people, people are like so afraid not making mistakes, which is okay. It's our personality in some ways, but we need to change this. I'm seriously. So I teach English to my team sometimes. We even like we're doing like a storytelling session next week, Sunday, to my team, saying like, what's interesting about you? We there's so many things, this and this and this, and there's like, and sometimes the people say like, oh, I didn't notice that. Yeah, yeah.
You know,
So
I wonder if
there's
there's
more
like
to do.
room for language exchange because I know a lot of people that want to learn Japanese. And so I wonder if that's like an opportunity.
Oh yeah, of course. Come to our space. Oh, we'll teach you
Where
weird
can people
Japanese.
find you? What are the best ways to find you and spell it out for us here?
Um, well, sometimes I'm on Twitter. Like most of the time I'm on Twitter. Twitter Space, I'll be there on for events. But I hang out on Clubhouse. Like so with my like team or community, we just like chat. Like we just like to chill out. Like so if you're gonna come to
What
Clubhouse and
what
you find
spell
me,
it out like
yeah.
how can we find you? Like what are your handles?
Oh, um, I don't know. It's Nori, Nori, and I think it was Noriaki. Yeah, Noriaki, Noriaki, Nakata, Nakata. You're not familiar with the soccer player, but he's very famous.
Oh, perfect. So we can find you on Twitter, Clubhouse, Instagram. We'll find you across the platforms. Crypto voxels maybe.
Yeah, sometimes I'm there.
You should be.
I should be
There's always
often.
another place to be. How many
Yeah,
places can you be at the same time? Right.
I know.
Right. One more
I
body,
need
one
one
more
more body.
mind, 10 more phones. Oh my
Definitely.
God. So, so as we like approach these like this like storytelling and language barriers, because we found that NFTs are primarily around the English language. Um, how do you see that translating? Because it seems like that you were saying a lot about how people were trying to find these aspects of their own culture, what they wanted to share of their own culture, what people were curious about their own culture. I wonder if that's like a sense of like finding self, finding like one's own voice, one's own culture. Is that just innate to being um, being an artist? Is finding one's own voice and how one relates to one's own culture, one relates to one's own spaces, or how do you see that conversation developing?
Well, I mean, it's gonna go over and over. Like, maybe, um, okay, the language stops the conversation. So, which means that they cannot communicate with the English speaking people, right? So they do not have any chance, not much of a chance to interact. So they see everything in one way, right? So um, they just think like, okay, it like they think like the foreigners or the people in abroad, I mean, like it this way, and they don't have a chance to like check and confirm with whether it's right. So, and I was talking to NFTP the other day. She's doing a great show called Celebration, where she worships is the culture of each countries, right? So she tries to elaborate what's so like special about the each country, like India, Korea, Thailand, and then I'm thinking that they're gonna find out something special about Japan, where if you just see from Japan, you don't see. Yeah, something special about our mind, how we think, how we act, how we live. And then this is going to be our very basic about our works, right? Artworks, and because it's like it's going to be a really expression of like how you um, portray and show your and design your works, right?
You know, that's very interesting for a couple things. First, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have NFT TP on the show in a couple weeks. Yeah, coming up
Oh
beginning of
yeah.
January, so I'm very excited for that. Um, and maybe we'll chat about that. But I think that's very interesting, like the idea of like this kind of like outside viewer viewing, like what is special about the culture, what is special about
Mm-hmm.
me as an artist. I mean, I think that's the intriguing thing is finding from one's own voice and how one finds their own voice within different cultural contexts. Um, and, and I wonder, you know, is that something that's been, you know, grappled artists for I don't know how long, but to find one's own voice within that, and I wonder if it's
Mm-hmm.
because that all of a sudden there's a global audience and we're forced to find a voice to the global culture, or what that is as
Mm-hmm.
the artistic voice is having to communicate to new audiences. Where does that put ourselves? How do you find that placement within a global culture as you interact with so many artists of many types?
Well, as you said, like um, the more we interact with other countries or like other cultures, people find new things about themselves, right? So yeah, that's going to be putting themselves in a new situation, new circumstance, and that's what we want to do. Like, so we started a we as a we're doing a marketplace called Nanakusa in Japan. So 90% of our artists is Japanese, 10% is from abroad. So basically, they're Japanese. They're getting the opportunity to pitch and promote themselves to the world. So we have a great moderator, Tiki Shareverse, with us, and we're doing a session together, and I'm translating for them. So they're pitching their in Japanese. I hope they can do it in English in the near future. But and then they're gonna start finding the new things about them, right? So yeah, so the more we do this, the more chance that people will have a like a more broader and wider view of themselves, a different view of themselves, and maybe other way around. And yeah, hopefully
Yeah, I
that's
well, I
when we
think
become
you
global,
kind
right?
of pointed out something very interesting in that is that there's something much larger going on in terms of connection
Mm.
um, to a larger world, that we have an effect on a larger world, we um, that we have the ability to communicate to a larger world if we're open to doing that, right?
All of a sudden,
And I
yeah.
and I wonder, you know, what that opportunity is to affect the world in a positive way through this new technology of NFTs and the blockchain.
Mm. Yes. Um, we're in a very interesting period when Web3, it's a whole new like blockchain technology is giving us a chance to put like um, the creators and um, the content holders a chance to decide how they want to use their works and property, right? Like the digital data, which is like a very important thing, because like let's say in Web 2, um, we thought it was like a revolution of internet, right? People were so excited about like, hey, we can do like so many things in like internet. We can share, we can get together with friends, uh, we can talk, and we can do all sorts of things. But like when it comes to like creators, we're not sure if they're happy, right? Because like they when it comes to creativity, um, I'm always asking people, are you happy with this current situation? Like, because like let's say if you're a musician, you go to Spotify and you put you put your music, right? You put your song, and then are people paying the money to your creativity, or are you getting money just by clicking, right? The answer would be the latter one, right? So Web3, new technology, blockchain, it's the creators are finding a way to have a really loyal like fans who are willing to pay to your creativity and to your future, right? And then outside of that, there's a buzz like going viral, the fans, right? So this is going to be a very important period for us to understand what it is, and I think that we should like seriously um, tell them what's going to happen, and why this is so important.
Well, I think that's actually very interesting is the idea of Web through three and the ownership by the fans, and the connection between the creativity, the creative output, um, and the people who support that. And I think there's an interesting connection there
Mhm.
between as we can say, like cultural creators and maybe people who are more on the consumption side of culture, as well as the people creating culture to the people creating culture, where it's a network of the cultural creation. And I wonder here, as we're looking so much at the technology of cultural creation, how are we looking at what's being said? What are the underlying
Mhm.
aspects that where culture is going as we create, as we're saying, we want to support cultural creation? What is actually being created? What is the culture that we want to see, that we want to bring forward, that we want to curate? Because at some point we're each curating our own feeds, we're curating for each other, we're curating spaces. um, what what are aspects that you would like to see in the future of the world and culture, um, as we can all experience it in the world?
Interesting question. I've never been asked about that. Um, Let me see. What I say is what we're doing right now. What I want to do is, and my company, my team want to do, is that we want to create a true creators economy, like using this blockchain technology. And that way people can make a living out of this and be really happy what they're doing. And so there's going to be like, of course, collaboration with people like creators, with the brands, the companies. Um, but what's really important is that we're trying to create a community that's really trying to make this like ideal like society that people and the creators and the fans are really happy about what they're doing. I'm not sure what we're creating.
Well, I think that's, I think the happiness is one thing of the people making it, but anybody can make something, I think, but I think then there's a question of what's being made, what's being shown, what what are the aspects and values that that are
Mm.
underlying the works that are given
Yeah.
visibility, that we're each giving visibility to through our likes and comments and shares. Each of us that we're even on Instagram or
Mhm.
YouTube, wherever we're on, we have the ability to like, share, comment, subscribe, like blah blah blah. Go click this and subscribe to Doing Good HQ. Go go subscribe to Nori. Like, click the buttons.
Right.
But share this afterwards. Share this with your friends right now. Go click up. But that's the way that we have to share culture. That's the way that we have to do this. But I think there's something underlying that in terms of the values and the systems. What do we want to share, and to come back to the thought of, okay, now that we have the ability to share, now that we have the ability to support, now that we have the ability to find ways to support the people who are making the work that we want to see. But what do we want to see? You know, I think there's, because there's this
What do we want to
aspect that we
see?
have here
Mm.
of, you're talking about the creators finding their own voice, what they want to share. And then we have people who are maybe on the consuming side who want to see something. But underlying all of that, I think there's an aspect that we can choose what kind of culture, what kind of value system do we want to see in the future.
What do we want to see? We want to see the future of the internet. And maybe that means to go digital, right? Like, and in a way. And so in order to go to like shift to digital, like blockchain, crypto NFT is very important, because that's gonna show us the value, the importance of, um, once again, creativity. And that's how blockchain will prove that this is it, right? Like, it's not like replicated, and this is like, the one, like, and the ownership, right? So I'm not sure if I can answer your question. What are we
But
going
maybe
to see?
more
But
like
like,
what you would like to
um,
see.
I would like to see. Uh, what I like to see in the future, or near future, or okay. So next year, what I want to see is that I want to see, NFTs all over the place in the society. So a lot of companies are reaching out to us saying like, "Hey, I want to do NFTs," which means, like, let's say, um, access token. So some companies, ticket companies, like companies, are saying like, we want to implement blockchain to our ticket system. Yeah, so we're trying to find a way to work this out. That's going to be huge. And if this works, it's going to be like every entertainment is going to use blockchain, NFTs. Yeah, so we never know the future of how it's going to be, but like, I'm so excited about like next year. Of course, the creators, they're really important, but also, like, how the society will be if we implement this whole concept, and then the creators would also collaborate with them. It's going to be exciting.
Do you do you see like the world changing for the better just because we implement new technology?
No. So I've been, discussing with my team about this yesterday. we had some debates saying like Web 2, Web 3, like, Nike and Artifact. Uh, and so is it really true that um, like Web 3, we should shift to Web 3, like everything, right? But like the answer was no, because there's some parts that are like good with Web 2, like the major companies, they have power. That's why like people can use like servers for free. We have access to like a lot of good things, a lot of things, the retailers or the transportation and everything. But some things has to be like decentralized, because to protect the creators. So it's like I think it's like Web 2, Web 3 is going to be 73, 70-30. So not everything would be like blockchain, decentralized NFT thing, but I would say like if it goes with 30%, then it's going to be really cool.
So, so that's really interesting. So it's not necessarily the technology by itself that creates a positive change in the world, but it seems that you're suggesting that it's more based on the people involved in it.
Hmm. Yeah. So the ones that are willing to change and use like crypto would be like the creators and also some of the companies that would like to change their system. If they want to go to the world or to virtual, that's a way. That's one of the ways because as we said earlier, we're like kind of behind um, with this because um, of the language barrier or some promotions. Like people, uh, only a couple of companies have succeeded to go out from Japan, and that would be this technology would be one of the ways, maybe the last chance for us to um, find a way through out of this. Hmm.
So it's really you're talking about like the format of being able to communicate with the world here and being able
Mhm.
to um, allow the people creating culture to monetize their forms of communication.
Mhm. Well, yes. It's also a way to find a way to monetize, but also like I say the next 2022 is a year for personal token. What I mean by this is that every one of us has a chance to create NFTs, and you don't even know what's going to be sold, right? Like who's willing to buy. So I was talking to my friend the other day. Is that I'm going to start this like weird concept of Noriaki's morning coffee club NFTs. So I'm going to sell 10 of them. And what I do is that I do research and I can analyze and make documents, right, every day. So every week I put together a document, and this week it was crypto and Web 2 brands, and then I made a document, and then what I would do is that to the NFT holders, I would present to them and do a workshop while drinking the coffee, which I have sent. So what they're gonna get is that they're gonna be in my community, getting some new information, cool informations, and they get to debate, discuss. Yeah, that's one of the, that's what I like to do for free, but people may be willing to buy. So if you like to go like to on a walk, or if you like to go to like let's say yoga, you can sell as an NFT. It's everywhere, right? So not only monetize, it's gonna be um like creating like more creativities for people. Like you're gonna find your new you.
to the ticket holders.
Yeah.
So why don't we discuss this as like a new form of tickets? What do you think about that?
Mm-hmm. Well, this is going to be fun because Access Token, everybody's talking about this. Real Madrid, everybody's doing the Access Token, right? Starting from the Bored Apes, from May, people were like so excited. They did a lot of collectibles, tickets. I'm talking to, let's say, a professional baseball team or soccer team. Um, they're really excited about this digital um, access token tickets, um, because what I heard is that uh, because of COVID, they they were they lost 50% of their sales from tickets. The ticket companies lost 90% of their sales. Yeah, so they're finding a way to a new revenue, which will be maybe this. Is we still have some ways to like some things to do to work on with when people are like let's say buy NFT, they publish, they issue a physical ticket. How we're gonna work this out? Like we need to do KYC, like on site, like showing your driver's license and going to your PCs and then find your contract address. That's gonna be tough. but but this is gonna be very interesting if we work this out, and people are gonna jump into this when they found out this is gonna work, and we're gonna be the first one.
So why don't you help share a little bit here about what are these access tokens? What's going on right now? Because I know you also did some recent analysis reports. Maybe you could share a little bit behind these access tokens, what they are, what's going on, what you're finding in your analysis right now.
Yeah, so people start to talk about like access token from like this May, when Bored Ape Yacht Club, which is a collectibles project. Um, it's interesting how they concepted like a group of 10,000 people who got really rich with cryptocurrency, got bored of doing because they had nothing to do. They gathered up and went to a yacht club and they partied. So that's the concept. And then they bought. It was 0.03 ETH. No, 8 ETH, right? 0.08 ETH, and then they had all the rights. You got a chance to, if you had the ape NFT, you can do a merchandise. You can make clothes. You can go to a certain digital area where you can play around and gather together with the community, and the community represented those who like to have fun and like to party, and also like those who are really keen to the new information, getting the blue chip project, right? So and then what's interesting is that there's this board board ape kennel club, right, where the ape holders got a dog for the pet. And then you can give them to other people so those people can come into the community, or you can sell it, right? So it's called a PFP, where profile picture for the social medias. You can use them and represent your identity, and then so you show what you get when if you join the community, right? Or also like in the Discord, right? And then people wanted it. People want to join the community, so that, but there's only 10,000, so they had to buy it from the owners, right? And that's how there were secondary sales, third sales, and then first it was like $300. It went to $20 million for the highest rate, which went massive, viral. and and then now they're collaborating with Adidas. They're collaborating with Animoca. So they turned out to be one of the most successful projects, and that was May. Honestly speaking, I wasn't really looking at them as a successful project, because I was like, oh, collectibles, nah. But it turned out that they were right, and that was shown proved right, because in August, um, uh, it was the total sales was $6 billion for monthly, because of the collectibles, which there was like 30 massive collectibles. People saw this and it was like, this is it. We're gonna do this, and a lot of like creators and business people did the collectibles, right? To elaborate.
So that's an interesting shift between like art and where culture is versus collectibles. Um, and how do you see that
Hmm.
moving forward as they both kind of get mashed together in this NFT space?
Hmm. Yeah, so when it comes to collectibles, it's a digital product, right? So next year, a lot of like companies or brands are going to start doing the same thing. It's whether it's a digital product or digital service, they're going to do collectibles, and it's going to be really normal. And the floor price is going down, because it's like everybody's doing it, right? But when it comes to art, like one by one art, I think that you can still do the same thing. Like let's say you have draw 10 works of yourselves, right? You can have your community with the token holders, right? You don't. It doesn't have to be digital like product like collectibles. You can still have your community with like 20 or 30 people. It can be like five, right? As long as you interact with the community, like the token holders, and then let's say you can let them vote, you let them propose, you can let them like get more NFTs, anything. The same concept, but it's just the numbers and are different, because if you have a huge like 10,000 fans in your community, that's where you have to work hard to serve them, right? So I would say it's just the numbers, like, and but if it goes like huge, a large amount of numbers, that's when you need a team and like try to work this community out.
That's a very interesting thing is like the idea of like community management and scales of community
Mm,
and kind of this idea of like where is it culture, where is it community, between, you know, how many
mm,
relationships we can each kind of have where we're constantly in contact with people. It's been, you know, there's numbers where it's about 150 to 200, depending on who you go by. Um, but I think that there's something very interesting in that between this idea of like, oh, this is a community versus this is a larger group of people who somehow loosely connected through us the same set of values and, you know, or the same set of like understandings or an interest group, like these subcultures and
mm.
subcultures. How do you see that translating into the connection between maybe a Japanese NFT community and other parts of the world?
Um, so I would say the global community is more active. They like to debate, they like to talk, they like to share. Um, where like um, the Japanese community like to stick with the influencers, and then they would rather get like try to get like new information, like so like so if it's not like profitable for them, they leave. But in our community, we have 800 members in our Discord, and I would say 300 of them are active. Two or 300 of them are active. 100 will be the artists, and others will be the users and collectors, right? And just speaking of our community, we announce like events and new updates. So we do some monthly events, but also like I found out that they like to hang out and like chill and like and like to have fun because crypto is really fast moving, and then you need all sorts of information. Um, People are doing their normal jobs, like the artists are doing their normal jobs. They need a place to chill. So like I always open up for them and say like I go on like let's say voice chat all the time, a couple of times, and let them hang out so that they can update while they only have a couple of minutes to in their daily lives. I even created like a channel for meme where they can like fool around. And that's not like much. There's not much of a meme culture in Japan. So um, that's one thing that they really like. And so yeah, there may be some difference. Of course, again, the language barrier. Um, Not much speak English. They like to hang out with their own people. Um, yeah, maybe that would be kind of a difference.
Interesting. Well, as we wrap up here, I just want to say thank you, Nori, so much for
Mhm.
joining us here on Doing Good HQ. I'm Aaron Jack, from the Aaron Jack Show, Artist to Art. We're here with Doing Good HQ once again, where you can have up to 200 different creators or people or wallets on the same smart contract, and 5% or more of every NFT goes to a nonprofit. So Doing Good HQ, DoingUdHQ on Instagram, on Twitter. You can find so many of the people from Doing Good HQ on Clubhouse. And through that, I think just become part of, I just like to encourage everybody to be part of the larger NFT community, culture, and find spaces to create within those and people to connect with across the world. So thank you so much for joining whenever you are watching, being, listening, exploring. So, Nori, to give you some last words, is there anything you would like to share that you haven't shared yet that you feel like needs to be in the world right now?
Mhm. Yes. So I didn't talk about myself not much, but like we are running a marketplace in Japan. It's called Nanakusa, but we are it started off with a startup, but we were bought by this internet banking security called SBI. So next February, end of February, we're going to be redoing a renewal. The whole marketplace is going to be updated. So please check out our new platform. It's going to be really cool. A lot of like major artists are going to be jumping in. A lot of companies are going to be jumping in, and there will be much collaboration with those company, the brands, and the artists. And if you'd like to check out anything about Japan, please come over to our place. Please let me know if you have any questions. If you have any proposals. Thank you very
Perfect.
much.
Wait, one
Thanks for
more
having me.
thing. Spell out your name and your handles here so that people can find you.
Okay, that's pretty hard. Okay, let me check it out. Okay, so it's Nori Nakata, Nori Nakata.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.
All right, you can click the X button and I will wrap up here. Okay, see you.
Okay, bye.
All right, thank you everybody for watching again. Once again, I'm Aaron Jack, hosting a series here on Doing Good HQ. With Doing Good HQ, it's just a wonderful place, a wonderful marketplace, just launched. I'm so happy to be here. Please go check them out. Please go check out all of the guests that we have on here, generally once a week. And so I really appreciate it. Again, I'm Aaron Jack. You can find me over at Aaron Jack Line Art. Follow the buttons around. Make sure to go follow Nori around because he's just a wealth of knowledge if you want to learn about NFTs and especially what's going on in Japan, because we live in a global world and it's amazing to know what's happening around the world and how to be part of it. Do some good in the world. All right. Thanks so much. I'm Aaron Jack. I'll see you next time.